some of these tabs. And that one, and that one. Yay! Back at it. So, we're going to finish off the... let's get into this view and I'll show you. We're going to finish off the PHP unit checks, wire up the console command, and then hopefully, if we've got time after that, we'll work through some CSS bugs. So, have I? Yes, here we go. Sorry. So this is the this is what we're testing. We did the get user from payload test before lunch, and now we're going to work through the rest of it. So getting subscription plans and updating customer and all of that jazz. Calculating the end date. Yeah, that's what we're going to be working through. So I suppose we should just start with this one, get subscription plan. So weirdly, this is saying that it's unlisted. Let me just change this to be public. I don't know why the visibility is... That's better. Unlisted. Excuse me, right. Okay, so that's... We'll get rid of all of the tabs in the group. That's the event. That is the process. And the new test that we created was down in here. Hang on, hold fire. Oh, I'm in the tutorial images branch. I was like, where is my code? Yeah, we're in here. We need to check out main, do a git pull, because I have just done a merge. That's it. And then do a git checkout of, what was it? It was tests. I think it was invoice paid event. Yep. There we go. Paid test. So that was the 2 tests that we added earlier. Or 3 tests that we added earlier, apologies. So let's add a test for getting the subscription plan from payload. I'm just going to copy that, paste that into there. Grab this. It is that one. Right. So it gets the plan ID, then it gets the subscription plan repository. Then it gets the selected subscription plan and it finds it by the external ID, which is from the plan ID from there. Then it checks whether or not it is or it isn't a subscription plan. If it isn't, it throws an exception. If it is, then it returns a subscription plan, meaning we're going to have to test both cases. So let's do that. And hang on. Yeah, no, that's fine. So let's grab that as the webhook. We'll do the first case, you know, the case in which it works first. We won't worry about the... So that's going to get the invoice paid webhook, and then we pass in webhooks 0 into there. We don't worry about the payload. And we're calling get subscription plan from payload, and this should return an instance of assert instance of subscription plan plan class, and that is our variable that we're going to assign. Oops. Let's just get rid of that from Moo. Let's run the tests. So let's go. I will use this one, I think. Come on. No, there we go. Let's do bin code set run integration -g, and it is. We'll run this one. And then the next test will be to inject a dummy payload and ensure that that actually throws an error. So there we go. That's get subscription plan for payload. Yep. So grab that. So test subscription plan for payload with invalid plan ID. All right. So do a similar thing to this in the sense that we need to set down in here. There we go. So what are we looking for? Sorry, I've gone and tabbed away. We are looking for plan ID. Plan ID is found off of the lines like so. So let me see if I was to run. That's the exception that we're looking for. Let's see if that actually does the thing with a blank payload. Blank payload. No, undefined index lines. So we're going to need to pass in the plan ID. We had this issue before, and it's to do with the way in which this is doing a ternary. I think. I might have to do an isset check or something, I don't know. The error is saying that it can't find undefined index. Yep. So let me just have a little quick Google. So with this, it's suggesting to use the null. Let's give that a go. I don't think this is going to work though. Interesting. Okay, in that case, I'm going to change this to be the null coalescing operator as well, and that as well. Let's run all of those. Just to be sure. Yeah, that looks good. Okay, so let's up on here. Let's do make test coverage and just make sure that we've landed all those. And then let's, whilst that's going on, probably to check on this here. Okay, and then the next one, whilst that continues down its journey, is this one. This is pretty straightforward. It's just to get the ID, and it returns a string. So we can actually use an actual ID. I'm gonna have to wait until all of this is done through, unfortunately. So that's pretty straightforward. This one here, update the customer. So this is checking that there is a Stripe customer, and if there isn't a Stripe customer, create one. Persist it as well, so we're gonna have to remove that. Let's do that. Let's remove the persistence. That would be in here, wouldn't it? And I'm going to change that to be create Stripe customer. That means, yeah, there we go. Maybe I should just not deal with the user. Let's have a look at the event a minute, the command. So if I was to hack this up, so that would be Stripe payload. Hang on, is this going to screw up the tests? Probably will. Let's just leave it for a minute, otherwise it's going to. Actually, no, those tests should ignore these. So, alright, Stripe. That's it. That's the one I want. Still good? Okay, that's done the report. Alright, give me a second whilst I wire this up. Private. It's in here. God, I can't wait until PHP 8 allows us to. I'm using PHP 8. Tidy up this controller. Pros this. Processor is equal to. There. Alright, so. Let's get rid of all of this ridiculousness. Don't need any of that. Don't need any of this. Then down in here, what we would do. Processor is equal. Well, no, it wouldn't. It would be this processor. Actually, no, that's wrong. That's the wrong thing. It is Stripe created process Stripe subscription. Sorry, I've gone and put in the wrong thing. Subscription. Paid process. There we go. Right. Paid process, paid process. Oh, I'm not passing it in. Ugh. There we go. Right, and then so that should be handled outside of the class. Right. So we would do all the updates similar to this, I think. So that's update user, passing in the user and the customer, Stripe customer, create Stripe customer, processor, Stripe payload customer, right, make payload store. Have I got that set up? Make payload store, yep. Okay, so yeah, at some point we would need to call update order. Update subscription plan. This processor. Update. Update order item, and this would be that way around, wouldn't it? Be that, then that, then that. Oops. Right, so that requires the subscription and subscription plan. So here we would have this processor get subscription plan from payload, passing in the payload. And subscription. Which would come from the user, so we would pass in the payload here. That is the user. User get subscription would be the subscription. Essentially, I'm doing all of this stuff up here. Yeah, I might be able to just grab that. That's what I'm doing. So, we've already dealt with that. This would be this processor. Same deal with this one. And same deal with this one. This user gets subscription. Then this would be processor. Now that would be create Stripe customer. We pass in the user. Yeah, there we go. However, we only need to do this if there isn't a Stripe customer. So we would do if get Stripe customer instance of Stripe customer. There we go, and we would check. We would only create the Stripe customer if we need to. So now what I can do is start putting in outputs. Okay, I'll leave that as is because we've done a lot of work there and we haven't really tested it. So I'll leave that as is, and we'll continue testing on these processor methods, making sure that they actually do the thing that I want them to do in an integration test. And then we'll run through all of this. That's probably a good way to go. So I've just done the coverage report on that. So the coverage should now be updated. Yeah, so that's now been updated. Okay, so the next one is just this little small jobby. That's all. This is the get stripe customer ID from payload. So, sorry, jumping about. Yeah, so eventually I want to get rid of all this. There's no need for a payload, is there? So what was the test called? It was that. It's not going to throw an exception. We're going to use the webhook from the database. This ensures that my webhook will ensure that my stuff is compatible. So that's webhooks. And it is get customer ID from payload. So I don't know what the customer ID is yet, so we'll see, and then we'll use that as the test. Sorry, one of these will fail. Let's run it in here. So this should fail, or the one that we've just created should fail. Yep, that's the ID. That's what I need. There we go. Okay, so moving on. It's the creation of the Stripe customer. So we need to do processor create Stripe customer, and we need to pass in a user. So we do user is equal to new user, like that, and we don't have a webhook. We pass that in as the first argument, and we also pass in the customer ID as a second argument, I think. Yep, as a string. And then what we want to do is make sure that we end up with user get Stripe customer get ID is the same. That is the same as that. Okay, run those tests. Okay, moving down the chain, update subscription plan. So this now will grab the subscription. So I need to instantiate a new subscription and instantiate a new subscription plan, set the creation date to today, and set the plan as well. So that's pretty straightforward. What's going on here? ID must not be accessed before initialization. Is this because of the Stripe Hang on, what's going on there? That's based on the Stripe customer, which is this. We're setting the Stripe ID. Oh, I see. It's because I've set the user and I haven't set the Stripe customer. Oh. Yeah, that's going to be a problem, isn't it? ID. I reckon it's this. Give me a sec whilst I just sort something out. Call to function get ID. On line 164. Oh, it's I understand. Yes, I understand. It's because I'm calling get ID and I shouldn't be. I should be calling get Stripe ID. There we go. Lol. Good. Okay, moving on. Have we need to uncomment. That hasn't been uncommented. Okay, good. Create Stripe. Update subscription plan is the next one. So we'll do a test for that. So, what we need is subscription plan to be a new subscription plan and subscription. And we are essentially setting the plan, setting the creation date to now, and then setting the active. Okay, so let's do subscription plan, set tail name, subscription plan, passing in the subscription and the subscription plan. We want to make sure that self assert true, that what gets returned. Is it the subscription that gets returned here? Yes. So we want to make sure that updated subscription plan is active. Is active. What else do we want to check? Oh yeah. So self assert same. We want to make sure that subscription plan is the same as subscription get plan, and there's one more, creation date. So we want to do self assert instance of date time class is the same as subscription get, is it creation date? Yeah. Okay, let's see if we can run those tests. Yes. Right, I'm gonna just run a coverage report. Okay, so the next one is to update the order item. So this one, the next set are the ones I'm unsure of, because it gets the period start. If the period start is not an instance of datetime, then we create a datetime. We set the frequency. We get the frequency. And then what we do is we calculate the end date based on the frequency and the start date. And then we set the end date based on that. So I think what I should do first of all is split this out and go calculate end date, test the calculation of the end date first. Let's make sure there's no bugs in here, and then we'll test this. Okay, so essentially, and there's going to be 1, 2, 3, maybe 4 tests on this one. So we calculate, pass in, or more than that to be fair, the frequency internal name, which is a string. So that will be either this, this, or this. If it's not, then we just return the end date, which is a clone of the start date. If the start date isn't an instance of date time, then a new date time is given, else start date. And then we clone start date as end date. So if no time is given, or if the frequency does not meet this lot, then the start date is the end. The end date is the start date. Yeah. And then on these, we modify them to be plus a month or plus a year, depending on what the internal names are. So we'll need to pass in that into here, and we'll also need to check if this works without anything coming through, like a blank string perhaps, and that being set to null. What happens? Because if that's set to null and that's a blank string, then that's null. So a new date time, yeah, so it will be today's date, because, yeah. Which I'm not sure. Maybe we need to check that, throw an exception. Because technically that's invalid. You know, maybe it's better to have a switch statement here, where the default is to throw an exception instead of this. And in that case, with a switch statement, it would be, you would be looking at the case of monthly or free, and then the next case would be yearly, and then the default would be to throw an exception. I think that's more of a, that would harden the code, I think, more. Right, we done with that? Good. Let's have a look at the report. Let's refresh. Right, so we have tested all of this. That's good. All that, and we're going to just skip over this for a minute, and then we're going to hack on this one. So calculate end date is the test. So test. Calculate end date, and we'll do with monthly. And I can't spell calculate, can I? So, how does this work? We have the processor, we want to do calculate end date, passing in is it subscription plan constants, and it's yes, monthly, and we'll do today's date, new date time. In fact, let's just wire this up. So we've got frequency is equal to this, start date is equal to, I mean, this kind of warrants a data provider, to be honest, so we can hit it in different angles, but let's just get one working first. So there we go, start date in here. Okay, so update. So what does that return? It returns a date time. So that would be the end date. So we want to make sure first up that the end date is an instance of date time, and we want to make sure that the date time is a month ahead. So that's going to be tricky unless I physically set this. I'm going to have to do that. I'm going to have to physically set it. So date time now, time zone. Always fiddly when you're working with dates. I don't think I've ever worked with dates without having like any kind of Stack Overflow post not present. So PHP so okay, let's get rid of that. Let's do date time, and let's do (2021) 05/01. And I guess the format, right, would be, yeah, it's whether it's uppercase or lowercase, that always throws me. And in fact, the US thing is throwing me as well. Let's the proper date time as, there we go. That makes more sense. Why would you have a year at the front? Anyway, I think that's correct. M, lowercase m, yeah. So we want to make sure that that's a date time. We also want to make sure that it's a month ahead. So how would one do that? I suppose what we would do asset. Come on. Yeah, asset same. No, I didn't think so. Asset same. We would make sure that that is 06, and this would be end date format M. I think that might be okay. I think. Anyway, let's just run the tests and see. Quite possibly not. Oh, right. Okay. Expect priority of time zone. Really? Or am I having a look at a wrong thing here? I am. I need to do create from format, don't I? Silly me. Must be an instance of datetime or null. Okay, so argument 2 pass to calculate end date must be an instance of datetime or null, boolean given. Argument 2 calculate end date. Boolean would be created if this returns false rather than a datetime. So what's going on with that? I've got the things around the wrong way, that's why. See, this is always, it always trips me up. Dates are just, ugh. Which is why we have tests. Thank you. Now, right, so we want to make sure that this also deals with the the yearly one as well. And I've just gone and removed it. There we go. Control X instead of Control V. There we go. Right. So this is monthly. We're going to do yearly now. So that would be 2022. No. And then we'll do free. Interesting. Oh, it's because I haven't changed that. Sorry. Yeah, definitely need to do this in a data provider, I think. This one here is going to be free, which should be M, and it should be 06. I think we'll have, yeah, I think let's just create our, whilst, I'll do a coverage report, and then whilst that kicks off, we'll build our data provider. Let's not waste time, so let's do end date provider. Now this is, I get this wrong constantly as well, so this would be, we would return an array of arrays where we have frequency, which would be subscription plan constants and channel free. We would have start date, um, 01, 05, 2021, and then we would have expected end date 0106 2021. There we go. Yeah, apart from my misspelling of frequency. How are we getting on with those? That coverage report still going off? Okay, so that would be that one, and then we would have, I think this is right, I think, or is it, I can't remember whether it's an array of arrays or array of array of arrays. It might be that. I have an example if this goes horribly wrong. I essentially want to pass in an array here, which would be this, I think. Anyway, so this one's going to be monthly, which is exactly the same as the one above, and that should be 06, not 6. And then, yeah, and then this one is going to be yearly. So that will be 2021, that'll be 5, and that'll be 22. That's correct. How are we doing with those tests? Still going through? Okay. And then what we can do is start screwing about with not providing the end date, the start date. Yeah. So if we were to do that, let's do. Well, let's just wait. Let's just wait. I don't think it's got many to go through now. Wow. Okay. Someone's going to be banned. Da, 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 da. Da, 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 da. Okay, so let me refresh. Good. But I want to do some better checks around this, because at the moment we're saying that start date is always the same, or is always going to be a date, and I can allow for nullables. So I want to make sure that that is the case. So how would one do that? First up, let's make sure that we can actually get the tests running. Da, 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 da. Data provider and date provider. So that would be our array that we're providing, so an array of data, and that would be therefore the start date. That's the frequency. So that would be data, frequency, and we also have our expected, that's expected date. Well, we could do that. I mean, it's just a case of this, isn't it? I didn't realize. Yeah, it's just a case of checking that, isn't it? So that would be expected end date. Yeah. Now I don't think I've done this right, but we can get rid of this one, and yeah, those two at least. And then run this this test up here. And it should hit that one test with those three pieces of data. Here we go, 1, 2, 3. There we go, boom. So now I can start throwing different start dates at it. So let's so it was right. Let's do internal monthly. Let's not provide a start date, so let's do null. And then at this point, what happens? We're going to provide an expected end date. Now that's going to change. If I was to run this test next month, then that will change. I reckon. Let me have a look at this code a minute. Let me have a look. Updated subscription plan. No, actually, that's fine. That's okay. That's fine. What we'll do to get around this is just make sure that it is a instance of. So if we have, so that would read null. Want to make sure that that is still a date time, but I can't check the expected end date. So we'll do if data start date if isn't null, then we check for the expected end date, else we don't. That'll get around that bit. Next part is so that'll sort that out, but we're still making sure that it is a date time object. Next thing is to throw random stuff at this. So let's say let's copy that for a second, put that back in there, and then just set this to not valid. What happens? So let's run that again. Argument passed to must be an instance of datetime or null boolean given. So it was on the last, it was on 3 and 4 that it failed. Start date. Start date is datetime. Datetime as null. Ah, okay. Damn. Okay, maybe what I should do, I see what's going on. Maybe what I should do is put the date time in here. It's probably better, isn't it? Yeah, because then that allows me to it's the yearly on this one, to manipulate the null on that. So let's get rid of that and just provide in start date, because that will either be our date time or it will be null. This is where it went wrong. There we go. Okay, so calculate end date with free. Am I, yeah, calculate end date. Let's just change that. So that was hash 4, which I think was this one here, the last one. Yeah, it was. So we want to do it with not valid. And not valid is coming back with today's date, or the the current date. But I want to throw an exception at this point. So I think I'm going to need to refactor this. So what we'll do, that's fine. That's fine. We'll change that to be a switch. So switch frequency internal name case break God, I'm gonna have to sit down in a minute. Back is killing me. So these would be the cases here. Case yearly. And then we would have default, and this would throw an exception. Invalid. invalid frequency, and we will close that down. Yep. So in this case, we set the end date to a month. In that case, we set it to a year. And we also need to deal with the free as well. So in that case, we do another case. In that case, we do another case. And that's the switch there. And we return end date. There we go. That's better. That looks better. That feels better, I think. Why is that unused? Hang on. Why? Oh yeah. Because I've spelled that wrong. That needs to go there. I think. Oh yeah, because that's an unhandled exception. Gotcha. All right, let's see if we can run these tests a minute. I know the last one all failed, but I just want to make sure that the other ones are okay. Invalid frequency. Marvelous. So that's the thing. That's the exception that we want to throw. So I need to capture that. That's because that's not valid. So we need to capture that somehow. What we could do is create a data provider that only just has credible dates and stuff. And then we can just create a specific test, because otherwise I'll have to hack this around. So, calculate end date with invalid. Oops. Frequency. So, the frequency is going to be not valid. And the start date is we'll just set this to null. Doesn't matter. Well, there we go. I don't think, is that required? No, it's just an unhandled exception. So this should expect an exception that should say, what should it say? It should say invalid frequency. That's better. It is required. I thought it wasn't required. Why is that? But that's nullable, so that doesn't make any sense. Let me just run that again. Invalid frequency does not exist. Oh, hang on. What's going on? Class. What have I done? I've done something wrong, haven't I? Oh. That should be exception message, sorry. There we go. Errors. Yeah. Exactly 2 expected. And it contains too few arguments. Oh. Oh, no. I've still got the data provider on that. That's why. But I'm confused as to why this... I mean, could we just go... I think what I need to do is to equal that. Where's null? Let's just sort this out. There we go. Come on. That's looking better, although we've got a failure on here. Calculate end date with invalid frequency, so too few arguments to function test. Oh no. See, this is an example of why I need a break. Which I will do in a minute. I'll go and grab a cup of tea. It's because of that. Let's run that again. Good. All passing now. Sweet. So let's just run code coverage. That's looking good. Apologies for that user who popped in and started swearing. Some people. Never really understood the mentality of a troll. It seems like they have nothing better to do. Anywho. Right. So now it's doing the integration tests, and what's running here is there's xdebug running in the background, and it's going to be writing out this test coverage. I just want to make sure that the tests that I've ran cover all the things. I haven't missed anything. I haven't missed any if cases or you know, cases, switch cases. And then we'll work on, I guess we need to work on this one, and then, well, no, we could work on this now, couldn't we? The update order. So it looks like I've hit them all, but let's just make sure. But it would be nice to... I'm going to just sit down for a minute. How is that all going? It's still going through. It'll be nice to get to some CSS today, so hopefully we can get past these two issues, and then we need to configure the command, run the command, make sure that that works, and then we can have a look at the CSS stuff. All right, so hopefully this will write that out. Come on. Okay, good. Let's refresh. Right, what have we got here? So that's been tested, that hasn't been tested. That's all been tested. Yes, that's good. That hasn't been tested. And we're going to get rid of the process method. Let's just make sure. Looking good. Alright, cool. Let's do the order item. So this is where we get the subscription. We pass in a subscription and it gets the period start off of the order item. So I'm going to have to create an order item based on the subscription. That's going to get the period start. And if I don't have a start, it will add one. And then it will get the frequency plan, get the start from here, which would be set up there, and then it would do the calculation of the end date. So what we want to do is to create a subscription that has an order item, and then we want to check the period end date. So I can see a couple of tests on that. So let's do. So what we have here is, what's it called? Is it update order item or something? Update order item. Yeah, thought so. So this is processor update order item. So we need to pass in a subscription. Let's bring that down a minute. There. We need to pass in a subscription subscript. Sean. Subscription is equal to new subscription, and we need to do subscription set current. Now that's going to be the order item. So let's do order item is equal to new subscription order item, and we'll do order item set period start is date time, create from format. Can't remember what the format is. Here we go. Yep. DM capital Y 01 05 20 21. Set that to be like so. That will return us the order item. And we want to make sure that we need to pass in the plan, don't we? Yeah. So we need subscription plan is equal to new subscription plan. Oops. Subscription plan that I can't spell. And that is going to be, we're going to set the internal name of that to be subscription plan, constants, monthly, which means that this should be a month ahead. So if we did order item get period end format to DMY should be 01/06/2021. Yeah. For this one I'm just gonna I'm gonna create one thing, otherwise it's gonna take a while just to run through them all. So update order item. So we'll copy the group and we'll go over to here, and it's the wrong thing. Never mind. Paste that in. Okay, plan must not be accessed before initialization. Update order item. Plan, get frequency. Oh, wait. Do I need to do... Oh, I haven't set it. Subscription plan. Oh, no, subscription set plan. There we go. Thing is, I still don't think this is going to work, because this is looking for frequency, and I'm not sure I've wired it up correctly. Yeah. So, yeah, that's unfortunate. Now, my reasoning for this is that you could have a subscription plan that doesn't have a monthly internal name. It could be something completely different, like bronze plan or something. So I have shot myself in the foot a little bit on that, but anyway, you'll see. Frequency is equal to it's a bit OTT, set internal name, so it doesn't actually matter about that. I mean, that could be called anything. That could be called anything. Doesn't matter. It's this that has the issue, and this is based upon the subscription plan. Yeah. So we go subscription plan, set frequency. There we go. Come on. Why is that not tabbing over? Thank you. Right. A little long-winded on that one. Haha. 256. Yes, I'm missing you, aren't I? What? Hold. Is that better? Everyone happy? Yeah, good. Good. Right. Let's go back to here. So there's a check whether or not the period start date exists, and I suppose I should check that as well, because at the moment we've provided one. So With no period start date. Yeah, if we don't provide that, and if we just check that it's an instance of a date time, that should cover it. Because it's date, it's or null. Hang on. Yep, and we should also check the end date as well. But that is also a date time. Right. So that should cover that case. And then down here we've got to do update the order. So this is where you have the order status, entity manager repo. We find the order status by internal paid, and if we can't get that, we throw an exception. Now the problem is, I know that exists, so that will never be thrown. But because it's find by internal name, there's a possibility that it might be thrown. But I know that exists, so I don't know how I would test that. Don't know. Oh, that's annoying. Subscription processor. I think that should cover that. Yep. Oh, it's doing the customers as well. Never mind. That's fine. So how would I test that then? That's untestable code, because this always exists. This won't exist unless I was to, unless I wrap this in some other method, passing that in as an option, meaning that I could, yeah. Yeah, let's do that. Good, that's all passed. Right, so I'm going to create, I'll do this in a sort of a TDD-esque type style. Let's get rid of all of this stuff, don't need any of this. What we do need is to get order status. It doesn't exist, but we're going to pass in, we'll test for the exception first, so not valid. This should throw an exception. Order status not found. And we'll do not valid. Okay. Get order status with invalid. Right. So that should fail because it doesn't exist. So we need to create that get order status. Yep. So let's do that. Let's go up to order here. Let's do which one are we dealing with here? We're dealing with this one. So public function get order status, passing in the status, which is a string, and that's going to return a nullable or an order status, and we essentially want that in there, but we're passing in status instead of this constant, and we're going to return status. Actually, it's always going to return status or throw an exception. Whoops. So that's fine, that's fine, that's fine. Throw an exception, find by internal name. Let's change that to be internal name. Yep. Right. So then in our test, which I haven't set up yet, where are we? Yeah. Yes, that should be fine now. However, that's the wrong exception. But let's just run it. So it's still going to throw an error, but I think it's going to be an error because the exception is wrong. I think. Yeah. Yeah. Here we go. Failed a setting that cannot get order status contains order status not found. So I need that to go in there, which now means that should pass. And then what we can do with this is we can remove all this and do status is equal to this get order status, passing in the subscription plan constants and its paid, I think. Is it? Hang on. Yeah, internal name paid. Subscription plan internal name. Hang on. I'm doing the wrong thing, aren't I? It's order status constants. That's what I'm looking for. Get order status, and it's order status constants. There we go. Internal name paid. Brilliant. Wonderful. That's looking much better. So now we can test this. Actually, let's do a test where it actually returns 1. That's probably wise. What's going on there? There we go. So let's do a test where it actually returns an order status. So get order status where we have order status constants paid. So this accepts. This shouldn't throw an exception. This should return us a status that should be assert instance of order status class status, and that there is good stuff. Oh, hang on. So let me just run through all these again. So that should cover this off now. Tell you what, let's kill that. Let's do coverage report. I'm going to grab a cup of tea. I'll be back very, very shortly. Okie smoky. Right. What were we doing? Oh yes, running the test coverage. Okay, let's have a look. That's good. That's all good. Right, so it's this. This is what we need to check. Okay, so we don't need to worry about this because we've covered that in another test. So we just want to make sure that the order summary is set up. So the paid date is an instance of date time, it's active, and the status is set to paid. We don't care about how it's set as paid, it just needs to be set as paid. So let's grab that. Well, that's, yeah, it doesn't matter. I'll just throw something together. I think that's probably. So test order test update order. So update order. So updated ed order. So the idea with this is we have an order that is a new instance, a new order, a new order summary, and what else do we need to supply to this thing? Paid date. Well, no, we don't have to supply anything to it. We just need to make sure that these things are set. Okay, fine. Okay, so we pass that in as the order, and we want to make sure that the updated order, the this is date time class. Is it paid date? Get paid date, yeah. Which is date time or null. We want to make sure it's a date time, and we also want to make sure that that it is active. So we want to make sure that that is true. And lastly, we want to make sure that it has the correct status. So we want to do expected status is a new order status. Expected status. Actually, no, we don't need to do any of this. Sorry, we just need to do this. So self same. This is order status constants paid is the same as updated order get status get internal name. There we go. So that should cover it, which means that everything else should be covered. I'm going to run the coverage again, and I'm going to also, whilst that does its job, I'm going to go to the command and just take a look at that for a second. So essentially what we've done is we've broken this up into small little chunks, and we've tested each one of these in, you know, almost like as a unit. Well, I suppose as a unit, but they touch the database, so you can't really call it a unit test. But anyway, so I think what I need to do is to write some output on here. So get user from get subscription. That's always going to return a user, yeah. That's always going to return plan app string. So that'll throw an exception at that point. That's going to get the order item. That's going to get the order summary. Yep. Right. So here we're going to do creating Stripe customer, and then we'll do updating subscription plan. Updating order item. Now I'm not sure at which stages I need to save these things. Updating, but we'll find out. Updating. That's that one. Order item, and then this one here is updating order. So when we run this, it should go through the processor and set all of these things up, and it should be the job of the command to save them. So what I think what we'll need to do here, does that return the user? Yeah. I think at this stage we're going to have to do this entity persist user, and then that would return the subscription. Persist. Oops. And then down here, we would persist the order item. And then down here, we would do the same, but for the order. And then once that's done, we would do this entity manager flush. And because it's in a loop, we would have to do a sort of on a batch, maybe. But we'll just get it working once first before we go down that path. So I need to write a test for this. To actually make sure that the things have been saved in the right spaces. So once this stuff is done, we will work through this. And whilst that's going through, I'm also going to run, because that's coverage, I'm going to do another command here. Excellent. Come on. Give me that. Right. Just going to quickly run make tests just to make sure that there's things like code formatting and stuff are okay. PHP Stan is happy and everything. Right. So we're just going to wait for the report to be ran here, and we'll come out of the container. That one. Oops. There we go. Alright, so the coverage report has been created. So that should all be green now. Sweet, sweet, sweet. So the only one that shouldn't be green is process. The idea in my head was that we would do all of that thing from inside just a single process. So it would just be process. But I think I need to break it up and actually return these things individually and allow the command to save them at various points and stuff. So I'm planning on getting rid of that. Aha, yes, so we do have some code issues. Okay, let's run that again. We'll just get to PHPMD and we'll get to PHP Stan. So that's PHPMD. Because we know the tests will pass. Just out of interest, what's the overall coverage on this? 75%. For some reason it's getting worse. I thought that was 76 earlier, but that's getting better. The subscription maker is something that we're going to remove eventually. It's just not using that at the moment. Okay, yep, there's some errors here. So abstract Stripe payload store has no return type specified. Interesting. let's deal with that. What line is it? 28. That one. Set payload. Oh, right. Return this. Should return self. Good. And line 42 on subscription paid process. Excuse me. Update customer. Call to undefined method. Line 42, I believe. Ah, right. This is the method that we're going to remove. Fine. Okay, never mind. Let's run through those again. Yay! Okay, we'll kill that. Good stuff. Right, let's see if we can get into the actual console command. So let's do bin. That's not a thing. It is bash, and we'll do this up. Actually, we'll come out of this shell. We'll do it above here because then I can use that for the logging. So let's go bash. Let's do bin console. And it is. What's the command? This command here. First of all, we'll run that command to find the queue. Okay, so what we've done is the invoice paid. So, and also I need to, I forgot, yes, I need to do, in our paid command, we need to do, it's the same sort of thing as the end for this finish event. Needs to happen in invoice paid. That point there. Right. What could possibly go wrong? Let's give this a go. I think what I'll do is I'll split the terminal up again horizontally, vertically, sorry. Get into there. Go into, I'm in there. Yep. Get into eval the shell. Get into the container, and nope, it's that command I want to use. So bin console, this one. Just want to use that in there if I can. Are you going to allow me? No? Brilliant. Right, and I'm going to use this one in here, and I'm going to do in here, I'm going to go into the bash shell, and I'm going to do tail -f var log devlog. All right, here we go. Let's just see. Errors, 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 errors. There has been an error. A new entity was found through the relationship of user Stripe customer. Oh yeah, okay, that's because what we're doing here is we're saving the user, but we're not saving the Stripe customer, and the Stripe customer sets that to the user. So maybe what we should do is just not provide that. Yeah. Now that breaks all the tests, but it's okay. It's okay. So that we're going to return Stripe user back like that, and then not provide the user in there. That is the Stripe ID. That's the customer ID. This is now Stripe customer, and we're going to save Stripe customer, and then what we're going to do is user set Stripe Stripe customer as the created Stripe customer, and then we're going to do this entity manager. Oops. Persist of the user. So why is that failing now? Expected parameter, but user provided. Oh right, have I not updated the return on that? Yeah. Okay, let's see what happens now. Interesting, no errors. It's done. Okay. Still got that in there though. I was kind of hoping that that would be set to 0 or just removed. Skeptical. I've set it to processed. You can see here. Updating Stripe webhook, set status ID. Okay. Let me have a look at the... it might be a problem with my queue report. Find this repository, find by... Okay. So it's finding all of them regardless of whether they've been processed or not. That's a bad idea. Okay, so we need to get... we need to get in the queue report. What we need to do is change that to be Entity Manager Interface. We need to get the Stripe... Yeah, okay, fine. Entity Manager Interface. That's the repository. Sorry, that's Entity Manager. That's now Entity Manager Interface, Entity Manager, Entity Manager, Entity Manager, Entity Manager. Okay, fine. And then down in here, what we do is we say, what do we do? What are we doing here? This Entity Manager, get repository, and it's Stripe webhook. Stripe webhook status. If we want to find the status, so do status. repo. We want to find the status repo. So find we'll just cover new ones for now. Find one by, and yeah, I think I'm yet to put these constants in a constants file, unfortunately. So we'll do internal name is equal to, I think this is correct. Stripe webhook status webhook status new. We'll just do new. I reckon that should be an option of the command, but you know, let's just roll with it for now. So that will get the status back. So then down in here we do entity manager get repository, and this is Stripe webhook. Yes. Find by status is equal to the status that we've just grabbed. I think that's correct. I think. Let's just run that and see. That should now return just the one, I think. I hope. Oh, right. Yes, of course. That would be uppercase N. Because we've just processed this, I'm thinking that that would be removed from the thing, and it has been. Brilliant. Right, okay. What I want to do is log in with that user. I just want to double check. I want to eyeball a couple of things. First up, though, we've broken a test, so let me work that out. That would be in here, right? So let me fix that first before we do anything else. So let's get into. Come on, thank you. Oops. Yeah, one of these tests I've changed. Like, I've changed the return type. I think it was the Stripe customer, I can't remember. I think it was that, but we'll let the test tell us what's been altered. Yeah, that's that one. Create Stripe customer. Must be an instance of a string, but an object was given. So that is on line 164. A. Oh, I'm not in the test. Sorry. What is the test called again? Aha, right. Yeah, so we don't pass in a user, we pass, but that should be now a customer, which is our Stripe customer. So it should be that, I think. Let's just run a test again, just to be 100% sure. And then what I want to do is log in with that user, go into the billing account, and actually visually see that there's been a change. And then I'll rebuild the database from scratch, log in with that user again, and it should have altered, run that command, and then it should have altered again. So that's all good. Yeah, let's get out of this. Well, let's just bring up another shell. Too many shells. What's changed? Can't read them. Alright, so that's been changed. Git commit -m. To this. Okay. Okay, yeah. Okay, right. So, right, I need to log in with this user's account. And this user's account, that's in the data fixtures. So that would be in here, and I think it's at the bottom. It's the one where we have the, that's the new customer, it's not that one. This one. I believe it's this one. Because we don't have a customer yet. And this one is associated with an order, I think. Let's just double check that. So if we go to Stripe, although I'm not going to be able to tell because it's all encoded. Let's just log in with this dude. So if we go to AutoCodeWell.local, and we'll log in. Okay. Unsure why that's taken me there, and I'm unsure why I've got that exception. But anyway, if we go to billing now, it says that your subscription is currently inactive. That doesn't make any sense. and it says that it's not paid. Something's not right. Did I just run those tests? Yes, I did. That would have reset the database. Which means that if I run this, we should get that event back. Yes. Ah. Right. Okay, let's try it again. Let's just go to the dashboard. Alright, let's run this again. That invoice page should be removed. Yep. Okay. So now if we go back to billing, hey, it's paid. And it was paid on the 17th. Nice. Okay. Nice. Although that's wrong. The 1st of the 3rd. What's going on with that? That's not right. Let's add a bug for that. Actually, let's just fix it. This will be in templates. It will be in front end. It would be in count. Yep. It would be in billing. It would be in bill. So, what a status creation date is the creation of the bill. Oh, paid date. Order.creation. No, that's wrong. That should be paid date. I probably did that just to get something running. There we go. That's the paid date. Nice. Go back to courses a minute. We did have that very weird exception. I'm wondering if it's a session thing. If I log out and log back in, am I still going to get that issue? Nope. Okay. I don't know why I got that issue through an exception. My guess is that there's something going on with the session or something. I don't know. But anyway, that's looking pretty good. Right. Fixing. Paid date in template. Excellent. I'm really pleased with that. That's so cool. Yeah, I'm really happy with that. I guess what I want to do now is see if I can. There is a test for for the command, which is kind of like the overarching test because it'll run it all, and it checks the output of this, which has changed. So let me run that again. Whoops. So it would be in make test command. Okay, so we'll come out of this. We'll make a bit of room. Right, I am reporting that person again. Hopefully that will get removed off of the stream. It's fine by me. The more times you do it, the more times I'm going to ban you. Or report you. I can't ban you, unfortunately. Right. Okay. So, why is this taking so long? Because it was taking ages beforehand. It's testing in command in. These are the commands that it's running through. But I don't get why it's taking so long. Maybe what we should do is run this in debug mode. So let's get into the container and do bin. Yeah, it would be code set run. The suite is command, and we're going to do this with VVV and D. Okay, so we can see it. It's the populator. That's what's going on. Which is a setting in codeception, I think, in here. No, in sorry, not in that one. In maybe in here, command suite. It's hanging at this point. That all looks fine to me, though. I mean, this should be the same as this stuff, so... Let's have a actual look at these tests. That's very strange. Let's just get rid of that for a minute. So command. That's the first one it does. And all it's doing is it's just checking the expected output of that command. So I'll tell you what, let's do bin code set run command. -G, and let's see if we can run just that test. Don't know why it's taking so long, man. Let's it's the populator. Right, let's do a down in here. Let's do a make DB test rebuild. OOP. Come on. Right, so stopping the database, creating the database, running through the migrations, doing all the fixtures, all those things. That's a fresh dump, and then this here. I don't get it. I don't get it. Don't get why it's stuck. It must be something to do with the config. Even though the config looks the same as everything else. Oh, is it because of... I reckon it's coverage. Yeah, let's disable coverage for a minute. Nope. How very strange. Okay. Okay, let's tear down the containers and bring them back up again. Sorry, Docker compose up -D. And let's just that's the wrong thing to do. It's up here. We want to do okay, so that was strange. I dropped the containers and rebuilt them again. And the tests are running. I mean, they're failing, but they're running. And they're failing probably because the data is out of sync. I mean, that's failing because... okay, no, they've actually ran it through. There's some that have passed. But it's because of the output of things. All right, I think what I'll do is I will just reset everything a minute. Cool. Make sure that's up. Yep. Let's go over to GitHub a minute and let's make a pull request on that. Some checks were not successful. Okay. Why? What? Hang on. Okay. Come on. I just want to watch this through. Should be okay. I'm sure I've changed that. Okay, that's Beautifier, that's running it now. That's Stan, that's running. PHP MD. Okay, this is the problem. There's a problem. Stan doesn't like it. Alright, let's run static analysis and just see what's going on here. Something isn't right. Make static analysis. Something isn't happy. Whoa, 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 hang on. What's going on? What? Hang on. I'm now getting, there's 2 errors there and there's 51 in here. Okay, I think I understand. I'm just gonna do some stuff off stream. Bear with me a minute. It's my environment variables. Alright. I think what I need to do, because I did the rebuild and everything, I think it screwed it up. Let's do Docker Compose build of the app. Now let's do an up. Sorry, from this point. Up -D, thank you. So that should have ran the entry point, which should have updated the wait. No, that's all wrong. Ugh. Have I still got this set to be? Yeah, I have. That's why. That needs to be dev. Right. Sorry, I'm gonna have to build this again. Done it again. Up. -D. And actually, no. Let me sort all this out first. Right, now I'll run it. Good. All right. So let's get. That looks good. That's fine. I think what I need to do now is push that up, I think. And also, yeah, no, what I need to do now, sorry, is I need to make static analysis, because there's still that issue. Come on. Come on. $95, $99. There we go. They're the two issues that I'm getting on here. Line 42 for line. Okay, good. So let's fix those. So this is in subscription paid process. And I'll just bring my IDE over to here. And it is line 42. Oh, right. This is a method that I'm going to eventually remove, so it's not really a deal breaker, but anyway. Adjusting right, hopefully now I can push this up to our actions. You see them all failing. Has that been pushed? Yeah, that's been pushed. And fingers crossed now that will be able to go in, which will be nice. Right, so it was PHP Stan Analyze that was having the problem. Yay! Okay, good. Sweet. So, I'm going to just stand up because my back is hurting, and then we're going to move on to some CSS. Yeah. So, yeah, now it's running the unit tests. Okay, fine. Let's switch branches. So let's go to check out main, git pull. So the issue that I want to fix is this one here. If we go to issues, it's something to do with like a border around the thing. Where are we? It's not this. It's a white border shown on video page, on video player. So yeah, if I click on that. Oh, hang on. We should see it. I'm hoping this is going to be a nice quick fix. Right, here we go. There's the border. I want to get rid of that. I don't know why it's appeared. Seems to be okay on mobile view. It comes into play sort of on tablet view, and then it's just apparent all over the place. It's almost like there's some padding going on around here. So let's do a git checkout -b fixes video player border. Okay. So I'm hoping I can quickly identify this. We're using Tailwind. So, okay, MD flex row. Okay, so opening that up. So then now we've got the video player, and then this is the tutorial list. So maybe it's tutorial container that's causing that. We click on computed here. We seem to have a left border and a right border, although the width is 0, so maybe okay, so maybe it isn't that. Let's just get rid of some stuff. Okay, no, that didn't do anything. Oh no, it did. So it's the tutorial container, which is I obviously need, but it's removed that white space. Right, so what's going on with that? Tutorial container. Let's think. Assets, CSS. Tutorial container has position relative, width 100%, overflow scroll. Okay. That's the only place that it's declared. It's not doing anything daft in anywhere else. It's just in there. Okay, so perhaps it's the position. So it's not, we don't have a horizontal scroll. I mean, what is behind it? It's that. That's behind it. So we've got margin left 4, margin right 4 minus, margin left, margin right, padding 4. Background is black. Okay. Interesting. And this one, you've got MD flex. I wonder what would happen if I put... I wonder what would happen if I removed the negative margins. Nope, that doesn't do anything. What would happen if I took off? Right. Okay. So I don't think that's right. What if I did BG black on here? Okay, that's black, but still. Let's just take all of those things off. Still got that. Okay, is it anything inside that's pushing it out? It might be. It might be. MD 2/3 ratio. It's interesting that that lines up inside, so it's not that. What is going on? That's so strange. Can't see anything on the background for this stuff. That's computed. Let's go to styles. So, all right, let's take that off to relative. Okay, that's still there. Width. Overflow. Okay, looks like it's the overflow that's doing it. Right, let's refresh the page. Which, to be honest, was probably the first thing I should have looked at. So, it's in tutorial container, which is somewhere here. Overflow. Right. So it appears to be the overflow. We can still scroll down here, which is good. And if we went into view developer, if we went into mobile view here, if we go into let's do the iPhone 5. No, that's not going to work, is it? I need let's put that back. That's strange. Now I've lost my I appear to have lost my responsiveness. That's strange. Right, so that's going to be, that'll show all of them in mobile view. But that's wrong. Something isn't right. Okay. Let's put this at the bottom. Okay, let's go and have a look at that for a second. And I think it's got to do with the overflow of this. It has to be. But that seems to mess up my... I mean, that's fine. That's fine. That's correct. I think it's okay. Yeah, I think that's okay now. I think it was just because that was like over there and it was squishing it. It was in between things. So it is the overflow scroll. We'll get rid of that, and we'll get rid of this as well. Fixing. On video player. Awesome. And awesome. Right. I think I'm going to call that a day and go to the gym. I think we've done a lot. I've done a lot. Let's just get these in. Code. Compare and poll. Actions. It looks as though that's passed now, which is great, so we can merge that in. Excellent stuff. That was a lot of work today. And I'll just wait for I'll let that just do its thing. Excellent. I suppose what I should also do is git checkout of staging and a git merge of main. Just to keep that up to date. Excellent, 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 excellent. Right, I'm going to shoot off. Whew. Thank you ever so much for watching. and have a great day. I'm gonna grab a drink and then hit the weights. See you again soon. Happy coding. Cheers. Bye bye.